When your team is going through a rebuild, and that's what's happening with the Miami Dolphins, how can you really predict the season? What are you gonna talk about on a season preview video? Well, this is what I look for this team. Okay, and I rather be in a rebuild than be a team that's 8-8, 7-8. You know what I mean. Just always on the brink of the playoffs, never quite making the playoffs, just good enough to make the playoffs, or just barely missing the playoffs, and really not getting anywhere that it needs to. That's kind of the worst expectations that you may have, being a fan of any team. And what I look for this team, and this is what you realistically have to think about, as a logical sports fan of a team that's rebuilding. Especially if you think about it. Within this last week, everyone that was on the Miami Dolphins team calendar, is pretty much gone. Good percentage of it, at least. So these are all new players. So what do you expect? They haven't been together. They're young. They have not been together. They're young. New offense, new system. Do I expect the first couple of weeks for things to be ugly? Yes. Yes. We've seen this unfold before. They have to find some type of consistency to gel and mesh with each other. So I definitely expect some losses. Some brutal losses, to be quite frank. But what I look for in this young talent is heart, consistency, consistency in the sense of playing hard out there, not giving up on plays. And if the veteran players, the few that are left on here, then you know what? If they have a problem with the losing, then let's trade them as well. Because you really need a locker room to, if there's any type of success, to be together, to gel. Especially with these new young players, which are, and I know they're grown men, they're not kids, but with inexperience, you're very much susceptible, is that the word, to being negatively influenced. You don't want any bad influences in the locker room. You want to keep a positive attitude. A lot of critics are saying that this is going to be the worst team in the NFL from 17-0 to now 0-16. All the Patriot fans, all the Bill fans, that's what they want. The Jet fans, they want to see that, for this team to be winless. And I don't think they will be winless. Because you have to remember something as well. It's a matter of pride. And this whole tanking for Tua thing, I don't believe in I joked around with it, because I've said it in other videos. I've joked around with it. But I don't believe players are tanking. There's no such thing. These players alpha male players, in high school, college, the best of the best, cream of the crop. Now, some are better than others, but still they have gotten to the NFL for a reason. These kids are playing for a contract. Now, whether these kids are in the Dolphins' plans in the next year or two, well, time will tell. But if you're playing for a contract, these kids will not let themselves be embarrassed in the 2019 season. What do I see as far as a win total for this team? 4 to 5 wins. See 4 to 5 wins. I like to see. Now, I like to see what happens with Rosen. I don't expect Rosen to play in these couple of games. Let him be very comfortable with the system. Especially, let's be honest, our offensive line now, especially after all the trades, is not the best. If Rosen is our quarterback for the future, get him in down the road, a couple of games in, maybe even have a few reps here and there, ease him in. Let's not get our quarterback killed. Okay, with the first 4 games, brutal with the defense. I don't want to get our quarterback killed if he is our future. You at the very least need to figure out what is Rosen. Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, you know what he is. He's good for the first couple of games for you, first 5 or 6 games, and then he turns into a pumpkin. But he's a veteran, and he's been around the league quite some time, so that plays a part for it. You look at Preston Wilson, try to see what you will see out of him. I think you can expect big things for that receiver. And Parker there as well. They had the organization had high hopes for this kid. Can this kid develop into that star receiver that they had envisioned him to be, and he hasn't really been. So even with the quote-unquote, it's the word, the tanking that everyone says, there are other highlights, there are other things that, that need to be seen and see what unfolds for this organization. Flores, does he get a pass for this year? I don't know about pass, because you might say that he doesn't have that talent completely, but you want to see, I think a telltale sign is when the losing when the losses start piling in, will this team still be listening to Flores? And let's be honest, the losses will be coming in. I'm a Dolphin fan, but I'm realistic. I do expect this team, like I said, give me 4 or 5 wins, playing, consistently with heart, giving it all their best and not giving up on any play. That's what I want to see. And, go out there with respectability. Because I know tell you one thing. Now, what the organization really is planning on doing, if they're in fact, quote unquote, in their mind, hoping you tank for Tua. Tell you one thing, I know that if Shula was around, he would not have this organization be run for tanking for Tua. It was always about, that regime was always about respectability of the game, and I hope that's what will be seen here in this 2019 season. So I hope all is well, and I look forward to speaking to you guys very, very soon.